we're going to work through some skills for managing your personal finances. The very first one is doing a cash flow from this budget. So we already have a budget here that's created. Let me go ahead and grab my blue pen. We know that cash flow is income minus expenses. We want to make sure that everything, because we're looking for a monthly cash flow, that everything is in terms of 1 month. So we've got the two 900s, and if we add those together, we have a total income of $1,800 for the month. As I go through, I know that rent, food, entertainment, those are all monthly, as well as the gifts. But the tuition is for 3 months, so I've got to take 2,100 and divide it by 3. If I divide it by 3, I get $700. So I want to go ahead and add up these expenses. Just move over here to my calculator. So I'm going to take 850 plus 225 plus 150. Now the 700 because that's the monthly expense. And finally the 55. That gives me total expenses for the month of 1980. So 1980. So we've got our total income and our total expenses. So I go ahead and subtract these. So I'll do 1,800 income minus expenses. And we end up with, let's see, so we'll do 1,800. We're going to end up in the hole, right? Minus 1980. And that is negative $180. So that cash flow for this month is negative $180. Okay, let's do the same for number 2. So for number 2, they gave me the monthly salary, so nothing to add up there. I'm going to go through and check to make sure everything is monthly for expenses. So monthly, monthly, monthly. Car insurance, though, I pay semi-annually. So I want to take that. Semi-annually means twice a year. So I'm going to do 540 and divide that by 2. So I'm paying $270. Let's see, twice a year. I actually want to divide it by 6, right? Because this would be once every 6 months. So I'm going to take 540 instead and divide it by 6. Much better. Okay, $90 is what we pay monthly. So we're going to use 90. Food and savings, those are all monthly. So let's go ahead and add up these expenses. So I'll take my 1,200 plus the 525 plus 120. So just a matter of adding up all your expenses. $90 a month for that car insurance, $330, and then finally $500. And that's going to give me total expenses of $2,765. $2,765. So I'm going to take my income, $3,200, minus my total expenses. So I'll just go ahead and do that here on the calculator. 3,200 minus 2,765. You don't need a fancy calculator for any of this, just doing some basic operations here. This time we have a positive cash flow. In both of these examples, so 435, in both of these examples, if this was a monthly budget that you were creating, both of these would need adjustments. That's that step 4 of that budgeting process. So for number 1, we're going to need to either figure out some more income or figure out how to cut $180 out of our expenses. In the budget for number 2, we have a positive cash flow, which is great. So maybe we want to put that towards our savings. Maybe we want to start putting some money aside to save for Christmas or an upcoming trip or something like that. But both of these would require adjustments. Okay, so the next couple of questions deal with the value of a college education. So this particular graphic, and you'll find lots of different statistics in terms of earnings for your salary based on education. You'll see lots of different statistics, lots of different, slightly different numbers, but we're going to work with this particular graphic for this problem only. Let's see, so if you've got some high school, you're expected to make around $26,000 a year. A high school graduate is going to make about $3,000 more, so $29,000 a year, and then it goes up from there. Associate's degree is $32,820. Bachelor degree is expected to make in a year about $42,689. So, three-part A. How much is a high school graduate expected to make over a 40-year career? So the high school graduate is this one right here. So in 1 year, that high school grad is going to make $29,422. Over a 40-year career, we're going to take that number and multiply that 40-year career and multiply that by 40. So I'm going to do 29422 times 40. And that comes out to be 1,096,880. So not bad. So over a 40-year career, just a little more than $1 million. Now let's do somebody with a bachelor's degree, part B. Somebody with a bachelor's degree, their expected earnings per year is around $49,689. We also want to do this over a 40-year career, so we're going to multiply that number by 40. So 4,2,689 times 40. About $700,000 more. So for this education over a 40-year career, $1,707,560. Part C, over the 40-year career, how much will someone with an associate's degree, and we haven't done that one yet, earn compared with somebody with a high school diploma? So let's go ahead and do the associate degree first. So we want to take that number and multiply it by 40. So the associate's degree is the 32,820. So I'm going to take 32,820, and multiply that by 40 to get their earnings over the career. So for the associate's degree, we've got 1,312,800. And we're going to find the difference between somebody who has a college, someone who has a high school education. So that's going to be 1,096,880. So we'll just subtract these two. So 1,312,800 minus 1,096,880. Make sure I have all my numbers in there correct, and it looks good. So unless I made a little error there, it looks like we've got 215,920 for the difference in their lifetime earnings. Now number 4. If you have a bachelor's degree, what is your expected monthly income? Well, we have the income for a bachelor's degree earner right here in part B that we took off the graphic, but this is our annual salary. So if I take the 42,689 and I divide that number, that annual salary, by 12, I'm going to get their monthly earnings. So 42,689 divided by 12. So this person in a month makes about $3,557. We'll go ahead and take this to the penny, and 42 cents. Okay, so moving on to insurance plans. So we talked about the premiums, the deductibles, co-payments, and coverage for different types of services. In this particular example, you have ACL surgery at the beginning of the year, so your deductible has not been met. For each insurance plan, figure out your out-of-pocket expenses for the month of January. This is something that a lot of us do when we're looking at insurance plans. So often at the college where I work, we have 2 different insurance plans to figure out. I go through and I figure out what our expenses are, our medical expenses are for our family, and try and figure out which plan would be better. Do I want to have, in plan A, I have a lower monthly premium, but I have a higher annual deductible? And in plan B, I have a higher monthly premium, but a lower annual deductible. And there are also some differences in copayments and coverages. So there's a lot of things to think through. Let's go ahead and figure out these out-of-pocket expenses here. So $12,000 is the total bill. Let me grab my red pen and we can go ahead and keep track of everything here. Let's go ahead and tackle Plan A first. And I'm going to do this down here just so I've got a little more room. Okay, so Plan A. So in terms of out-of-pocket expenses, I know that we have to pay the $2,000. So if I take the $12,000 that we're starting with and I subtract that $2,000, that gets us down to $10,000. So I'm on the hook for the $2,000, and that's on top of the $220 that we're paying for the monthly premium. This was not an office visit, but this was surgery. So I have a $125 copay. So I also want to subtract that $125 copay. Actually, let's do, to keep things cleaner, I am going to instead do all of our, let me do it this way. I'm going to keep where I've got. Okay, so I'm going to take the 10,000 and subtract, oops, 1, 2, 3, and subtract the 125. So that gets us down to $98.75. So $98.75. I'll highlight what we're paying. So we're paying the $2,000, we're paying the $125, and that's on top of the $220 that we're paying for the premium. And then your insurance pays 90% of the balance. This is the balance. So they're going to pay 90% of that. So 90% is paid by insurance, which means that 10% is paid by you. So we also want to figure out what 10% of 98.75 is. So 98.75 times 0.10. I can also just move my decimal place. So that's $987.50. So of this balance, $987.50 is paid by you. If I take the $98.75 and I multiply that by 90%, okay, so $8,887.50. And these two total that $98.75. Okay, so we are paying 10% of the remaining balance. We are paying the $125 copay. We're paying the $2,000 deductible, and you can't see it anymore, so let me put this up here as well. We're also paying that premium, which was $220 a month. So we want this expense for January. So that's the last thing that we're paying. So let's go ahead and add all of that up. So we've got the $220, just adding everything that I've got highlighted, the $2,000 deductible. Whoops, and I want a plus. So the $2,000 deductible, we're paying the $125 copay, and we're paying 10% of the remaining balance, $987.50. So our out-of-pocket expenses for Plan A, let's see, I'm still in a highlighter here. So our out-of-pocket expenses for Plan A, $3,332.50. Let's go ahead and do the same for Plan B. Okay, so for Plan B, we've got a $650 deductible. So let me write that down. $650 deductible. I'm sorry, premium. So a $650 premium. Our deductible is $1,000. So we're going to take that $12,000 bill, and off the top, since we haven't met our deductible yet, I'm going to subtract $1,000, and that gets me to $11,000. I'll go back through and highlight what our expenses are. Let's see, for surgeries, there is no copayment. But they do cover, it's kind of nice, right? They cover 95% of the balance. So of this 11,000, which is now the balance, 95% is paid by insurance. So I can take that 11,000 and multiply that by 95% times 0.95. So that's going to be 10,450 paid by insurance. And we're paying the other 5%. So if I take 11,000, 1, 2, 3, and multiply that by 5%, we pay the 550, which represents 5%. Okay, so what all did we pay? We paid the $650, that was the premium. We paid the $1,000 deductible. There was no copay, so that left us with the remaining 5% that my insurance didn't cover. So let's go ahead and add these up. So I've got $650 plus $1,000 plus the $550, which was our part after insurance paid 95%. So here's my total for Plan B. Let me get my red pen back. So for Plan B, our out-of-pocket expenses for that surgery is $2,200. Okay, so it takes a little bit of work to come up with that, but it's worth it. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because you have a higher monthly premium that this is going to be the lesser of the two plans. It's just so many variables. Okay, Part B. If you had the surgery later in September when your deductible was met, now what would your out-of-pocket expenses be for the month? So as I go through these, let me go ahead and grab, I'll just grab a blue pen. I'm going to mark what I would still need to pay. So for Plan A, I would still need to pay the monthly premium. I would no longer be paying the deductible. I would still be paying the $125, but it would change my balance. So I'm going to recompute this guy. I'll do this in blue down below. So I've got 12,000. I no longer have that 2,000 that I'm subtracting. So instead I'm going to subtract $125. So that's going to give me, let's see, let's just do that right here. So 12,000 minus $125. I want to get that balance. That's going to be 11,875. This is my balance now. And for Plan A, 90% gets paid by insurance, 10% gets paid by us. So if I'm just going to move the decimal on this one, so that means I'm going to pay $1,187.50. Let me highlight those expenses. So I've got the $125, still have the premium, and I've got my 10% coverage. If I add these things together, this is going to give me a very different bill. So the $220, the copay, and my 10% of the remaining bill. Okay, so I've got $220 plus $125, adding up my expenses, plus my 10% of the balance, $1187.50. So now we've reduced those for Plan A, those out-of-pocket expenses, to $1,532.50. So later in the year, when our deductible has been met, I'm going to have a lower amount to pay. Okay, so now for Plan B. I'm still on the hook for the $650, but I no longer have the deductible. So I've got the $12,000, and there's also no copay. So that means $12,000 is my remaining balance. For this $12,000, 95% gets paid by insurance, 5% gets paid by us. So let's go ahead and take the $12,000 and multiply it by 0.05 to get our share of the balance, which gives us $600. Let me grab my highlighter. So I'm on the hook for my premium, no copay. So the only other thing I'm on the hook for is that $600. So I'm going to go ahead and take the $650 and add the $600. So my out-of-pocket expenses here for Plan B, let me get my blue pen, is that $1,250. These are really good examples to work through. There are so many different choices when it comes to insurance plans. Even if you're lucky enough to have an employer provided insurance plan, they often give you two choices. My family has switched between the two just based on our family size and our medical needs. So just such a great life skill.